a sound or you'll wake them in the deepest part of the ancient forest. The flickering candlelight illuminates the faded pages of a story. Hedgehog still sits and tells the stories that people dare not tell before.
The Witch's Garden. Chapter 1. The Curse on the Full Moon Night. In the sun-drenched kingdom of Eldoria, where golden roses bloomed in the royal gardens, a curse existed like a crack on a precious porcelain vase. Princess Elara, with hair as golden as ripe wheat and eyes as blue as an autumn lake, was doomed to fall into an eternal sleep upon her 18th birthday, by a spindle prick from the wheel of the witch Morwen. People spoke of Morwen in hushed, fearful tones. She lived in the depths of the dark forest, in a hut that was said to have chicken legs, surrounded by a strange garden with sighing trees and flowers emitting a fragrance that lulled people into dreams. She was ugly, wicked, and her heart was as black as the cloak she wore. They said she was jealous of the beauty of the queen, Elara's mother, and thus, took revenge on her newborn daughter. But no one ever truly asked why. On the eve of Elara's 18th birthday, the palace was gripped by a terrified silence. The prophecy was about to be fulfilled. The king had ordered all looms and spindles in the kingdom burned, yet a sense of dread still crept into every corner. Elara, instead of being afraid, felt a strange curiosity. Having lived 18 years in a gilded cage, she had always wondered, why? Why would a woman hate an infant so much? Was that malice the whole story? As the first full moon of her 18th year reached its zenith, Elara was wide awake. She slipped out of the palace, draped in the plain cloak of a commoner. Her heart thumped, not from fear of the curse, but from a compelling urge to find the truth. She wanted to meet the witch, to see her with her own eyes. The journey through the dark forest was not as dark as the rumors said. Moonlight filtered through the ancient canopies, creating ethereal silver streaks on the ground. Strange flowers glowed, flickering like fireflies, and the air carried the scent of grass, damp earth, mixed with a sweet, unfamiliar fragrance. It was not like the scent of the roses in the royal gardens, it was wilder, more untamed, and freer. Then she saw it, a small wooden hut, without any chicken legs, sitting silently beside a clear stream. Surrounding it was a garden. Oh, what a garden! Elara had never seen anything like it. Vines bearing deep purple berries climbed over the eaves. Bell-shaped silver flowers trembled, softly singing a melodious tune. And in the middle of the garden, a woman sat by a spinning wheel. She was not ugly. Her face, though lined with wrinkles, looked like trails of time and thought, not of rage or envy. Her silver-white hair cascaded like a waterfall of mercury. And her eyes the color of misty gray, looked at Elara without surprise, as if she had been waiting for her for a long time. "I knew you would come," Morwen's voice was deep and warm, echoing like wind through rock crevices. "Come here, child. Sit down." Chapter 2. The Threads of Fate. Elara, defying all warnings, stepped into the garden. She sat on a smooth, moss-covered stone opposite Morwen. The spinning wheel creaked softly, golden threads spinning under the witch's gnarled yet deft hands. "Have you come to ask me to take back the curse?" Morwen asked, not looking at Elara, but watching a thread taking shape. "No," Elara replied, surprising even herself. "I came to ask why." A faint smile touched Morwen's lips. "Why? That is a question rarely asked. People usually only ask, how to break it." She stopped her work and looked directly at Elara. "Do you know who your mother, your beautiful queen, once was?" Morwen's story unfolded under the moonlight, in the magical garden, not with a tone of hatred, but with a profound sadness. Years ago, Morwen was not a witch. She was a warden of the deep woods, a sorceress of nature, who wove the threads of fate to maintain the balance of all things. She had an apprentice, a young woman full of ambition and thirst for power named Isolde. Isolde wanted to learn dark magic to manipulate and dominate. Morwen refused. But Isolde, with her mesmerizing beauty, deceived a young prince of Eldoria, using forbidden magic to enchant him, and became his queen. My mother, Elara whispered, disbelieving. Yes, Morwen nodded. Isolde, your queen, stole an ancient book from me. It contained a secret curse. But she did not understand that all curses have their price. To punish her betrayal and greed, I cast the curse upon her child. Not because I hated you, child, but because I wanted her, who had trampled on the purity of magic, to taste the pain of losing what she loved most. Elara fell silent. Her world, built upon simple fairy tales, suddenly crumbled. Her gentle, kind mother was once a betrayer, someone who used magic for selfish purposes. And the evil witch was actually a guardian of balance, betrayed and seeking retribution. Then, what is the real curse? Elara asked, her voice trembling. Morwen pointed to the spinning wheel. It is not eternal sleep. It is the truth. On the night you turn 18, you will fall into a sleep, and in your dream, you will see the whole truth about your mother, about me, about what happened. You will have to choose, to wake up and face that harsh truth, or to remain forever lost in sleep to avoid seeing it. The spindle prick is just a symbol. The sting of truth is what makes people fall. Just then, the sound of horses and shouts echoed from afar. The blazing light of torches tore through the quiet night of the forest. The king and his knights had followed. They saw the princess sitting with the witch, and they charged forward, swords gleaming. Seize the witch! Save the princess! The king, Elara's kind father, shouted, his face distorted with fear and anger. In the chaotic moment, Elara saw a flash of light. A knight, rushing forward, accidentally knocked over a candle on Morwen's work table. The flame caught the dry threads, and the entire spinning wheel burst into fierce flames. Morwen cried out in pain, not from the fire, but from the threads of fate turning to ashes. She looked at Elara, her grey eyes filled with complex emotions. Now fate is free. Everything is in your hands, child. Then she vanished into the smoke, leaving Elara standing there, in the garden, with her stunned father and the knights. The curse had not happened as they imagined. But another curse, the curse of truth, had begun. Chapter 3, The Garden in the Heart. Elara returned to the palace, but she was no longer the innocent princess of before. The truth revealed by Morwen sprouted like a seed within her. She began to observe her mother, Queen Isolde, with different eyes. She noticed the distant look in her mother's eyes when gazing towards the forest, how she started at the sound of crows, and her overprotective guarding of a small ivory box always kept in her bedroom. A month after the fateful night, Elara found her way into her mother's room in her absence. The ivory box was unlocked. Inside was a small leather-bound book, black-covered, and a portrait of a young Morwen, a woman with proud beauty and eyes bright like stars. The last page of the book recorded the curse, and in the margin, was her mother's handwriting, no price was too high for the throne. But now, that price might be my own daughter. The brutal truth crashed down. Elara no longer had any doubts. Morwen had been right. She felt a vast sadness, not for herself, but for the deceit that had shrouded her life. She fled the palace once more, not to the dark forest, but to a deserted garden at the edge of the realm. There, she began to garden. She planted wildflowers, herbs, despite everyone's dissuasion. They thought she was affected by the witch's magic. But Elara knew what she was doing. She was trying to recreate a piece of Morwen's garden, not with magic, but with love and understanding. In her small garden, she found peace. She learned patience from the slow germinating seeds, strength from the saplings pushing through the earth, and that even plants considered weeds had their own beauty and purpose. Then one day, as Elara was pruning rose bushes, a familiar voice spoke behind her. "Your garden is not bad." Morwen stood there, under the shade of a weeping willow, seeming older and more tired. The spinning wheel was ashes, her power to weave fate was gone. You came back," Elara whispered. "I came to say goodbye," Morwen said. "Fate has changed. The curse was broken not by a prince's love, but by your courage to face the truth. But I still don't know what to do, Elara confessed. About my mother, about the kingdom. You are already doing it, Morwen smiled, the first true smile Elara had seen on her face. By creating this garden, you are healing. Healing yourself, and perhaps, this kingdom as well. You did not choose deceit, nor revenge. You chose life. She stepped closer, placing a small seed in Elara's hand, shimmering like crystal. Sow it. It will tell you who you are, not a princess from rumors, or a victim of a curse, but your own self. With that, Morwen dissolved into the morning mist, like a dream. Chapter 4, The Seed of Truth and Forgiveness. Elara planted the seed in her garden. In just one night, a sapling sprouted, growing with astonishing speed. It bore no flowers, nor fruit. Instead, on its branches grew heart-shaped leaves of crystal. Each leaf reflected an image, sometimes the pained face of her mother looking at Elara as a newborn, sometimes Morwen's loneliness in the forest, sometimes the remorse in the king's eyes upon learning the truth about his wife. The crystal tree did not judge, it only showed the truth from every perspective. Elara came to understand that everyone had their own reasons, fears, and mistakes. Her mother, out of ambition, had caused suffering. Morwen, betrayed, had created a curse of revenge. And she herself, in her thirst for truth, had inadvertently destroyed Morwen's wheel of fate. One afternoon, Elara led her mother, Queen Isolde, to the garden. Seeing the crystal tree and the images within, Isolde wept. She collapsed, confessing everything. She spoke of her reckless youth, her lust for power, and the regret that had tormented her for years. She apologized to Elara, not as a queen, but as a mother. Elara did not embrace her mother immediately. Forgiveness could not be rushed. But she took her hand, and they sat together by the crystal tree. They sat there for a long time, in silence, allowing the truth and the pain to be seen, to be understood. Elara's garden became a place without judgment. Gradually, people from the kingdom, with their own sorrows and secrets, also came. They sat under the crystal tree's canopy, seeing the hidden corners within themselves and others. And strangely, it did not divide them, instead, it helped them understand and connect more deeply. The kingdom of Eldoria was no longer only radiant with sunlight and golden roses. Now, it also had a garden where crystal hearts resonated with the melodies of truth and empathy. Elara never became a queen in the conventional way. She became the keeper of the garden, the guardian of the complex and beautiful stories of people. And Morwen. Occasionally, on moonlit nights, people still saw the figure of a silver-haired woman walking at the edge of the forest, looking towards the garden where her seed had borne fruit. And sometimes, they heard the laughter of two women, one old, one young, emanating from that garden, where the line between princess and witch had blurred, fading into an understanding greater than any magic, the understanding of a heart that knows how to listen to the stories behind every fate. The end.
If you feel a chill down your spine, don't worry. They're just standing behind you, listening with you. Thank you for daring to enter the world of fairy tales of Nim. We'll see you again next night, if you're still around.